Now, you're probably asking, all the candidates are saying, are you going to raise taxes? I'm here to tell you tonight, I'm not telling you I'm running to raise taxes. But I'm also not going to tell you that I wouldn't propose a tax increase. Because looking at the next 4 to 8 years, we're probably going to have to do some changes in the tax code. We're probably going to have to. The legislature enacted a law that was suspended by a people's veto that broadens the sales tax and lowers the income tax. That's a good thing, I think. I think that's, and Libby I know agrees, but she voted for it. No, it's a good thing. We have a 1940 sales tax. We have a sales tax that's so narrow that in good times we get a lot of money. In bad times, when people are not buying new cars, refrigerators, and home building supplies, it dips. So our sales tax is like a sine wave, up and down and up and down. We need to reduce the volatility, to increase the stability. We do that by expanding the sales tax, to expand it to things that people buy in good times and bad times. And we also need to lower the income tax, because right now we have an 8.5% income tax. And if we lower that, more people will stay in Maine. We'll bring more businesses to Maine. Now, it is a progressive tax, but I think that's important. So I'll finish my speech here and by simply saying this. I'm running for governor to improve the lives of the Maine people, every person in this state. I believe that the purpose of government, and you can check it out in our Constitution, is to promote justice, to protect the common welfare, and to educate people. And we need to do a better job doing that. And if we do, we'll grow jobs. We'll have more jobs in the state of Maine. We will. We will. In my administration, we're not going to measure success just by the number of people who have health insurance. We'll measure success by the number of people who have health insurance and also have access to community-based preventive health services. That's critically important. And we'll measure success not just by the number of young people who graduate from high school, but rather by the number of young people who graduate from high school and can go on to higher education, whether it be the community college or university, and be successful. You have the economic wherewithal to go, and you have the academic wherewithal to be successful. And then we'll measure success by the number of those young people who can stay right here in the state of Maine to find their economic futures here. And we were talking tonight about this, and there are we have a lot of young people in Maine, and you're one of our biggest exports. You probably know that. Of any age group in Maine, we only have about 15,000. We have 15, 16,000 18-year-olds, 14, 15,000 10-year-olds, and we have under 14,000 3-year-olds. I mean, we don't have a lot of kids to start with. We're the oldest state in the nation. Our fastest growing age group is 75 to 85. We need to keep our kids here. You're our future. And when I talk to young people, I say, what would it take to keep you here? I say, a job, a good job, affordable housing, affordable health care. I want to make sure I can work in an area that I feel I'm using my education in. I want to work in an area that I feel good about it. We have an obligation to young people to make sure that happens. And that's why I'm running for governor. I believe that. I believe that. We need to make sure that we don't, in my administration, not just that we have jobs for everyone, but that the jobs are sustainable, that they last, and that they pay a living wage. I don't know if you know how many people in Maine are working 2 and 3 jobs. They don't have health care, and they're running themselves ragged, and they're worried all the time. I mean, that's a lot of people in Maine. We can do better. So I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to see if we have any questions, because I didn't take the whole hour. So please, go ahead. Yes, sir.
You talked quite a bit on education, and I agree with you that giving the kids a good start in an environment where their parents can value education and they can have a good, healthy start. You also talked about changing the school year, and especially in our country and in our state where SAT scores have been falling since the 70s, and just overall academic success has been falling. Well, do you think that the school year is really the way to go when it was the same back then? And 'cause that seems kind of funny to me. And also, what do you think about looking at standardized tests and holding teachers more accountable? A few other candidates have talked about that.
Well, I certainly think we ought to look at as one way of measuring the success of teachers, we ought to look at student performance. I think most people would agree with that, but it can't be just based on outcomes, because you have to look at what kind Where was the student when you started? In other words, performance, it's one aspect of measuring the success of a teacher, but it's not the only one. And I'm going to say this, great teachers make great schools. Great teachers and great parents make even greater schools. Children need support all the way around, at school, in their homes. And what I said about the school year, where I was going with that is, for a lot of young people, during the summer, they don't have the same opportunities for that enrichment that they have during the school year. And for a lot of little kids, they don't. And all I was saying is, if you break up the school year, kids from, some kids from lower, it's not all about being poor. I don't want to say that. Listen, I know some parents who don't make a lot of money, are the best parents in the world, and their kids do great in school. But generally speaking, it's a struggle. And all I'm saying is, if you break up the school year, you don't have that long summer break, you won't have that differential when school starts. It won't be so great. There's all kind of literature on this, and most of the countries in Western Europe have moved to this. Asian countries have moved towards it. Many schools in the United States have, other states. It's just a matter of looking at what works best for the students. The reason we have schools is to educate students. You know, I mean, and so let's look at how students learn best and how they retain information. That's all I'm suggesting, and I would never make it mandatory. I'm talking about using incentives and using it on a, schools could move to it. So I want to be clear about that. Thanks. Other questions? Yes, please.
I enjoyed hearing that you grew up on a small farm in Oklahoma, because I grew up on a small farm in Maine, and
Yes.
I'm curious to know what you think the state can do to improve the climate, and not the weather climate, but the general climate for small farms in the state of Maine, and not in terms of government subsidies, but in terms of the infrastructure for small Maine farms.
That's a great question. And that was a great question too up there. They're all, thank you. There's some good news on small farms. The average age of farmers is actually starting to go down now. And we have a lot of small farms in Maine. The other good news is people are starting to realize the advantage of buying local. I mean, you're probably starting to see this. Back years ago, it wasn't, it was only certain people. Now we realize the nutritional value. We're supporting our friends, our neighbors. How many of you have seen the movie Food Inc.? Anybody seen that? If you haven't, you might want to watch that. It's a good movie. In terms of buying local, you know what you're getting. You're supporting. It's not just agriculture. It's fishing too, right? It's fishing and farming. It's important. So what can we do? We can support them through marketing efforts. We can support them through access to capital. Many farms have the same challenges that any small business does. Is accessing capital and having enough working capital. We can assist them, particularly with marketing. We just came in, there's a new milk in Maine, Moon Milk. Many of you probably have seen that. It's a cooperative of 9 different dairy farms that got together, and they're actually marketing now. We can encourage and innovation in terms of co-ops, CSAs. I don't know, many of you probably belong to a CSA where you actually pay a certain amount, and then you can enjoy the harvest of a particular farm. But I think in terms of government, it's going to be access to capital. It's going to be any sort of business assistance that farmers need. It's going to be making sure that we're assisting them in marketing. I'm talking about marketing at a larger basis, marketing Maine products. And it's going to be, I think, a governor leading on saying, you need to buy local. Try it. I mean, you know this. Many of you know it here. It's healthier, it's more nutritious, and you're helping Maine people. There's a whole lot more we can do for one another. It's not a zero-sum game. There's enough in it for all of us. Farming is going to be a bigger part of our economy in the future than it's been in the recent past, I believe. And I think fishing has that, and lobstering has that opportunity. And we've had some real struggles with ground fishing, as you know, because of the depletion of stocks. But we've removed a lot of dams from the rivers, and a lot of the anadromous fish now are returning to their spawning grounds, and we're going to see some replenishment of that. So.